Hello, James Dedecker with MSU Uprec. Today we are out standing in our Oat and Barley variety trial plots. This is a project sponsored by the Michigan Crop Improvement Association. And for a number of years here at Uprec, we've been studying malting barley specifically. As you may have noticed, the craft beer industry has been growing in the state, and that's created an awesome opportunity for farmers to produce malting barley, which would then go into regional malt houses and eventually feed the craft brewing industry here in the state. We've expanded this work for malting barley over the last couple of years to look at other grains as well that may have roles in craft beverage or other specialty uses like milling for baking, for example. And that's where really oats have come into play. Oats are a popular crop in northern Michigan, the UP, and have been for a long time. But they can be utilized in these special ways as well for milling and baking, for example, or for brewing. And then also a related industry that we're getting to learn more about is craft distilling. That's kind of been the follow-up on craft brewing here in Michigan and around the country, is folks that are using grain in processes to produce spirits or alcohol. So both oats and barley have a role there as well for certain styles of spirits. Here we've got the oats that I'm standing in, and next door we've got the barley. The barley is mostly 2-row malting barleys. I think we have a couple of 6-row types in there as well. These grains historically have been used for feed, although the feed markets for oats and barley are fairly limited these days. Most people are focusing on corn for animal feed, but we like to think about those uses as kind of secondary markets too. If your crop doesn't make grade for brewing or distilling or milling, perhaps it could be used for livestock feed. So these crops were spring planted. They're establishing really well this year with some of the cool and moist weather that we've had. Pretty soon they'll be starting to get some height, and we'll be recording heading dates. And then of course at the end of the season looking at yield and quality of the grain itself. So we had an interesting issue when we were planting these oat and barley plots this year. We were out a few weeks back and the wind was really strong. I think there was like 50, 60 mile per hour gusts that day. And the way our planter works, our plot drill, is that the seed is placed in a sort of cone or funnel, and then when you get to the start of the plot, you want to trip the planter and it dumps the seed out into a carousel that kind of meters the seed out. And the wind was so strong that day that when we would trip the planter and drop the seed out, it was blowing all the seed to one side of the carousel. And so what we ended up with is a couple of half plots. And so you can see this one right in front of me, and there's one just behind me here too that is like that, where all the seed was pushed to one side of the drill, and so only half the plot got planted. We quickly realized, thankfully, that was happening while we were planting. We were able to rig up a sort of wind guard out of cardboard that we wrapped around the carousel on the drill and prevented that from happening for the rest of the plot. But just a kind of interesting example of the technical side of the work that we do here and some of the issues that you can run into. So we'll continue this work. This project is replicated down at Kellogg Biological Station in Hickory Corners, Michigan, southwest lower Michigan. They're partners on a lot of the small grain for beverages work that we do. And in addition to the support from Michigan Crop Improvement Association, a lot of our barley work is supported by the Michigan Craft Beverage Council, and that includes some of the work that we do in the Uprec Malting Barley Quality Lab to look at the specific quality of these grains and their utilization for the malting and brewing industries.